All right, let's start working on the Pythagorean theorem. So what the Pythagorean theorem is it's a formula. You've probably heard a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where you have a right triangle, meaning a triangle with a 90-degree angle, a right angle, and the two sides that form the 90-degree angle, those two sides are called the legs. And those are A and B, or B and A, doesn't matter which order. Now, the last one that does not help form the right angle, that is always the longest side. We call that C, otherwise known as the hypotenuse. Okay. So that is what this guy here is. That's always the longest side. So if you do a Pythagorean theorem problem, a right triangle problem, and your hypotenuse is not the longest side, then you've got a problem. I don't expect that to happen too often to you, but yeah, I suppose it could if you do things wrong. Okay, so this is what we're going to use here. But again, it only works on right triangles. If you have something like that and none of the angles are 90 degrees, none of them are right angles, then the deal's off. You can't use Pythagorean theorem, not unless you make some kind of modification. Now that's not going to come up. They're not going to try and trick you, but that's how the formula works. It's something to be aware of. Okay, so on this one, all right, so we've got a 7 foot 2 inch by 9 foot 8 inch rectangular concrete pad to be formed, and we want to go to the nearest 1/8 of an inch. Okay, calculate the length of diagonal D right there. Okay, so we have a right triangle right there, and we know the lengths are 7, 2, and 9, 8. So let's plug them into the formula, because those are both the legs, because those two sides form the 90-degree angle. We're looking for the hypotenuse, the longest side. That would be our C in the formula. And so anyway, so that's kind of what's going on here. Now, if we plug these numbers in right away, we got into the formula, and we got a problem because they're in feet and inches, and it'd be nice if it was all one unit. Let's make it all inches. Okay, that way we won't have any decimals or fractions, at least not at first. So let's go do some conversion here. So 7 foot 2 inches is going to be, let's see, there's 12 inches in every one of those 7 feet, plus a couple extra inches. So that's 86 inches. The other one, 9 foot 8 inches, 12 inches in each of those 9 feet, plus another 8 inches, gives us 1/16. So 86 and 1/16. All right. So how do I get back to the thing? Oh, I thought I clicked that. I guess not. All right. So we got this. So we can plug them all in now. 86 squared plus 116 squared, or vice versa. And then we're looking for D, which is our hypotenuse. Okay. Now I need to do some erasing. Okay, and so let's go to the calculator, and we want to do 86 squared plus 116, was it? Yeah, squared. All right, so I get 2852. All right. And so now we'll take the square root of both sides. And it says we're going to go to the nearest eighth of an inch. So that's really wonderful and special. So I'll go square root, grab that number, and I got that. All right, so we got, remember, everything was in inches. So this is 144.4 inches. Okay, that's about exactly 12 foot. 144 inches is 12 foot. Let's double check that. So I'm going to divide that by 12 to convert it to feet. And I get 12 feet. All right, so I'm going to write that down. So D equals 12 feet. And okay, what about the rest? All right, so I'm going to subtract away the 12 feet. Okay, because I already know about that. All right, that leaves me another 0.0335 feet. So now I'm going to divide that by 12 to get it back to inches. Okay, whoops, wrong. No, I was supposed to multiply, wasn't I? Let me go grab that guy. Okay, I was going to say, that doesn't make any sense. Times 12. There we go. All right, so we've got an extra 0.4 inches. So we don't have any complete inches. I mean, after we deal with the 12 feet. All right, so 0.4 inches, how do I get that to eighths of an inch? I multiply by 8. And that rounds off to 3. So I'm going to have 3/8 of an inch. So 12 foot, 3/8 of an inch. That is how we do that one. Okay, so we got this cool guy wire here. 24 foot tall, 40 foot wire. And the question is, how far away from the base of the pole do we need to attach the wire? That might be helpful to know to set this thing up. So we clearly have a right triangle. So we can do the Pythagorean theorem. And I'll go 24 squared plus something squared equals 40 squared. All right. And so what I'm looking for is one of the legs, one of the two sides that form the 90-degree angle. And therefore, the question mark takes the place of either A or B. I chose B. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So let's square some stuff out here. And 24 squared is 576. 40 squared is 1600. Okay. Okay, and then when I subtract, oh my goodness, I think this is going to actually work out to a whole number. That's not expected when I just make things up. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 576 from both sides, which leaves me with a warm feeling inside. Okay, and that gives me 1024. All right, and so now when I take the square root of both sides, I get exactly 32. 32 what? Feet. That gave me a flashback to the Little Mermaid. She's singing about the world up above. Okay, so anyway, so that's it. And notice that the hypotenuse, that's longer than the given leg or the other leg. So that's a good sign. That's a good thing. Doesn't guarantee we're right, but it's it's a good thing to check. Okay, now on this one, they say, hey, go find the diagonal distance right there. I'll call that question mark. Okay, so we know that's 68. We know that's 42 millimeters. So we've got a right triangle. Once again, this looks like a job for the Pythagorean theorem. Dut, 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 dut. Okay, so I plug all that in there, and it's just incredibly wonderful to do so. Right, so we'll go 68 squared. Oh, I didn't change the numbers. Got it. plus 42 squared. Okay, we get 6388. So that's pretty nifty. And then the only thing left to do is take the square root of both sides. And I don't know what that is, but I'm going to. So square root, arrow up to grab that number. And let's see, how do they say to round this off? Nearest millimeter. Oh, okay. So that'd be 80. Right. And of course, I'm going to include my units, the mm. All right. And that is how you do that one. You don't get too far. Okay, so now we're going to find the height of this guy here. So once again, all right, I gotta hit that. We've got this super awesome right triangle right there, Shazam. But we've got feet and we've got inches. Let's make it all inches just to, keep everybody happy. So, and yeah, let's leave it 1/16 of an inch. And let's say it is 16 foot, 6 inches. And this guy here is 30 foot, 8 inches. Oh, wait, there. Okay. All right, so let's make it inches. All right. So I'm going to clear that out. We're going to say, all right, so 16 feet at 12 inches each, plus another 6 inches gives us 198. And 30 feet at 12 inches each, plus an extra 8 inches gives us that. And all right, so that's 198 inches. And this one is 368 inches. However, we got an issue here. You'll notice, hopefully, that, okay, so one thing that we have to do on this one is recognize that the triangle on the base only goes from there to there. This 368 inches goes from here to here. And in other words, twice as long. So we got to chop that bad boy in half. Okay. So we'll grab the 368, chop him in half. 184 is what we really want for the base of the right triangle. Okay. All righty. So now we're ready to roll. So we can say 184 squared plus the height squared is 198 squared. I am just going to subtract 184 squared before evaluating it, just to kind of show you that, well, you can if you feel like it. So that's going to leave me just question squared on the left. On the right, well, I don't know. Let's go find out. All right, so we've got 198 squared minus 184 squared. It's 5348. Wow, that much? Holy cow. Okay, well, whatever. And then we'll square root both sides. All happy and stuff. So square root of that guy. And we get 73 inches. Okay. Well, they're not going to want, that. They're not going to say, hey, how many inches is it when it's something really big? They want feet and inches and 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so let's go find that for everybody. Okay, so we got 73 inches. So if we divide that by 12, that'll give us feet. So 6 complete feet. Got it. All right. So 6 foot. What else? Okay, so now I can get rid of those 6 that I already accounted for. And let's multiply that by 12 so that we can figure out how many inches. And we've got 1 whole inch. Well, one complete inch. And we're going 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so so I've got that 1 inch written down, so I can subtract it away. And now I'm dealing with just that 0.13 inches. I want 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to multiply by 16. And that gives me 2. Oh, wait a minute. I want to go right there. There, now you can see it better. All right, 2. Or in other words, 6 foot 1 1/8 inches.